Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks for your introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. And like I'm Nashid Dalal from Food Entrepreneurship Academy. Our business is also called as FEA Food Innovation. It's a place where we help food founders and established brands turn their ideas into scalable, market-ready products. What we will learn today is more from a point of view. So let's start with something we all know that every great product starts in a kitchen. But how do you take that kitchen concept, that spark of innovation, and successfully bring it to the market shelf? That's exactly what today's session is all about. Throughout this session, we will walk through the entire journey from understanding market dynamics, market segmentation, consumer behavior, to developing minimum viable product, and finally scaling it through sourcing, manufacturing, and commercialization. So you'll also see real life case studies like sustainable oat milk, what we've worked on, natural sweetener, what we created for Indian brand, where innovation is not just about ingredients, but it's also solving real consumer problems as well. So those are the things what we will probably learn in today's session. Whether you are a startup founder, a mom, brand manager, a salesperson, or a food innovator, today you will learn practical frameworks to help you. Three things, like identify where your product fits in the market, validate with your customers, and design product that's not only tastes great but also sell. So that's what we will work on it. Let's just jump straight onto the agenda. We'll start with market dynamics, segmentation, and understanding what drives consumer decisions today. Then we'll move into innovation methodology, ideation, product mapping, and before finishing, with how to take your MVP to the market. So those sort of things you will learn through today. This slide, the reason for me to bring up, from market dynamics, then segmentation, because I want everybody to understand that before developing any product, it's essential to understand the landscape what you're entering into. The food and beverage market doesn't exist in isolation. It is shaped by constantly changing forces like your consumer preferences, technology, be it economy, and everybody's seeing right now, right, with the Trump administration and tariffs. So every market forces bring changes. And also the culture, even the cultural shifts, right? So let's start with consumer behavior, right? Why understanding that market dynamics is so important? From a consumer point of view, consumer today are driven by value as much as by taste, be it health, sustainability, convenience, and then how authentic that product is, right? So those sort of things are quite important for consumer, although they do the product taste is the king, what we believe in, but these are the driving force for consumer behavior point of view. It's also quite important. And we've all seen after post-pandemic that people seeking functional benefits in the food, like gut health, energy, relaxation, this is calm, right, which is very big claim. So, and it's not just about calories. There's more now inner experience what people are looking forward to. Now that's the market sort of dynamics from a consumer side of things. But let's talk about from a supply and demand part of the things. So we're also seeing supply chain vulnerabilities, with the current economic affairs when you look at it, right? So be it ingredient shortage because of the tariff, the price fluctuation again because of the tariffs, and we are seeing this right now. So it's easier for everybody to understand that we are in a space where or phase of the within the world economy or geopolitics where we're seeing all of this already happening. So all of those factors actually shapes that market as well. So for this supply chain, because of the tariff, the local because of supply and demand, the local founders or local companies will have to innovate, and they'll have to innovate and then source locally as well. So that's why that supply chain and demand is very, very important. The third factor, what I think is quite important, which actually is part of market dynamics, is also technological advancements. Technology, as we all know, is redefining food innovation, from precision fermentation to plant-based protein to AI-driven consumer insights, right? So we do encourage, and I think at the beginning, one of the food markets team members shared that how they had AI-driven the webinar yesterday and how good it was. So I think those things are quite important for a smaller business, for a young business who's starting out from that kitchen. So this is still what we're discussing today is still very, very relevant for those people, because before you bring your product out, I think it's better to understand all of these factors as well. As we go through further as well, you learn more about it. The next one is also more on the economic trends. That's also one of the biggest factor you will probably see driving market dynamics. Cost of living pressure means consumers are being more selective, so they're trading down in some categories but trading up in some products, right? So they're buying more necessary products, but also how do you give them? So whenever you're developing something from kitchen, you've got to think about that, right? That because of this cost of living pressure, how is my consumer going to spend? You cannot produce really expensive products, but how can you bring more functionality in your product, but at a lesser cost, right? So you need to that's where the opportunity lies, in that value-driven premiumization. That you bring more as more functionalities at less cost, and there is a way to do it. It does cost a little bit, but it's gonna work around. So I think those are the factors you need to focus while you're developing in the kitchen, right? So that's economic strengths. The next one, what I believe also drives market forces, is competition. Competition these days is fierce. You look at the supermarket shelf, not from big brands point of view, but a lot of small agile startups are coming onto the shelf. They are very quick to innovate, and I personally believe, right, that this is the time in the world after almost 20-30 years that a young startup built from the kitchen, from a home, is pushing boundaries to innovate, and then pushing bigger brands to also innovate into those fields. Because from 20-30 years, nothing has changed on the supermarket shelf, right? So I think what I believe that all of these younger startup has a chance to actually break that barrier, bring that innovation out. And I've seen a few innovation coming out from a smaller brand, and then the bigger brands are just jumping on. So I think that's very good in terms of, that's how you can drive the market force as well. The last one I feel is more from a transition line. So we've just sort of understanding, once we've understand these dynamics, the next question becomes who exactly we are innovating for, so let's just discuss more from a point of view of let's move on to the next slide and discuss more from a point of view of how market segmentation works. So now that you've understood the dynamics of it, this is the the segmentation part. So you'll see a pyramid up there, right? So the pyramid has all four. Just hang on a second, because I'm looking at the pyramid as well. So on the pyramid, you see at the bottom, right, you've got this mass market consumers, which is more from an affordable nutrition. Then you will see just above that, preference-driven consumer, which is functional foods and beverages. There's a lifestyle consumer just on the top, customized nutrition, and then right at the top, it's more of the personalized nutrition. Let me explain you a little bit here. So the way it works, that as you go up the pyramid, right, your product becomes more it's very niche. So you are looking at right at the beginning or the top, personalized nutrition. You are talking about more from a medical aided people, or specifically, I think a lot of brands are coming up now with vitamins and minerals specifically for each individual consumer, right? So that's going to be a very, very premium product. Not you're targeting probably only 1 or 2% of Australian population, right? As you come down, the lifestyle consumer, the customized nutrition, that's where you are then targeting further another 10%, and then right at the bottom you are actually targeting the belly of the market. But if you go up the pyramid, your profit margin goes really high, but then also you see the green one here, the market size goes down. As I was talking, it's only 1 or 2%. So but what I recommend, looking at it depending on what your product is, you have to be you need to know who you are targeting. I mean, understand your customer, know your customer, right? As you come down the pyramid, you're gonna see mass market, your profit margins are slim, but the market size is huge, right? So there's more potential there. So that's very, very, very important to understand exactly what you are actually targeting. And the way I look at it, and let's go through step by step again from here. So it's what is market segmentation. Once now that I've explained you the graph, let's go more deeper into what is market segmentation. It's about clarity. It helps you move. Helps us move from everyone is my customer to this is exactly who my product is for. So I think that's narrowing down is quite important. This more focused approach to your target market will bring you higher chances of success. So if you have a product idea and you're building up into a kitchen, these are the two things which I will do. Understand the market dynamics, and then understand go through this pyramid and understand who is your customer, right? And then work towards it, because there's no point. I mean, one thing I can definitely tell you, not everybody is your customer, right? So you have to narrow it down. I mean, this segmentation also occurs not from these four charts what I've shown you, the consumer preference, mass market, but further segmentation can be done across demographics, psychographics, behavioral, and then the geographic, right? So demographics, of course, everybody know: age, gender, income, lifestyle. And then psychographic is more from attitude, beliefs, motivation. Behavioral would be more from buying patterns, brand loyalty, and usage occasion. But this is more from when you grow big, and then that's why you look more behavioral stuff, right? Not at the beginning. Geographic is also quite important. It brings you to location, climate, and regional preferences. So let's talk about this multicultural hub, right? I mean, if you are creating a product, for example, for a particular community, right? I'm originated from India originally, right? So if I'm creating a product from an Indian community perspective, you have to then focus right on that, right? So that's look at your product and target that market. If you do that, understand everything about those demographics, understand everything about that community, see what they like, what they don't like, how much money they're willing to spend, what are their beliefs, from a psychographic part of the thing, what are the motivation to buy, what's their lifestyle, how much generally that community earns, and those part of the every part of this segmentation will help you build that proper product, because then you understand your product more, you understand the pricing, you understand your everything what they are going to buy it for, right? So that's quite important. Now let me give you an example on a product side from a market segmentation. So let's say we are developing a high protein oat milk. Demographically, our audience might be 25 to 40-year-old, I guess. They are health conscious professionals, right? Psychographically, they are likely gym goers or plant curious consumers who want sustainable protein. Behaviorally, they buy online, because most of the people buy online. So then you have to follow those fitness influencer and value transparency. So those sort of things, I think this is a great example, the way you can actually look at that product. Once you have this definition of your target consumer, then who they are, then validate the data, right? Do the consumer survey among those demographics. So if you think 25 to 40 is your age group, do the consumer survey of your idea, of your product, and if you've got a product, the kitchen based product, then do a sensory among 20-30 people, and then see of that age group, and then get that feedback and understand, listen to them, understand the product, understand the feedback, and then refine those things. I mean, this will give you enough validation. This data will give you enough validation to prove that the product will work. I think so before even jumping into production and everything, I think those things are very, very crucial for you to do. And once you have an outcome, right? Once you deeply really understand your audience, your product is designed, then your product will connect emotionally and functionally, so that people will feel that the product is made for them and they will purchase it. So I think those things are quite very, very important. I mean, and that's in a nutshell. It's all about market segmentation. I hope I've been more clutteredly explaining, but this is quite important. Now this brings us to the next stage, and more from a point of view starting it brings you more from a point of view of the understanding again the consumer, right? Because now that you know the consumer, always start with the consumer and ends with the consumer, right? So I think those things are very, very important. What we generally see that when you what I've explained you through segmentation, now that understanding that consumer is very, very important and you've understood that, right, then design your product accordingly. It has to be consumer centric design. So if you do that things right, and then once your product is ready, you do all the kitchen trials, product development, then make them taste it within, as I explained in market segmentation, that if you make them do a sensory among that group, and from the feedback, you change all of the refinements what you have to do, and once you have a product, that means that it's been validated. So if you do those two things right, starting and ending with consumer needs, your chance of succeeding will go from 10% to 50%. And this is what we see. It's not just a number what we just throw out, but this is what we see who we work with a lot of other clients, that we work with all sort of startups and founders, but those people who actually go through this rigorous market understanding, market dynamics, as well as segmentation, understanding the consumer, you do see that success within the product when they go out in the supermarket or any retail, right? So that's quite very, very important. Let's go to the next slide. This is again from a point of view of consumer-centric and consumer-validated product design. So what you will see here is the knowledge mapping. The way I look at it is let me run through a couple of slides further and I'll come back again. So because that will help you understand much better. So the way at Food Entrepreneurship Academy, the way we look at it, this is our innovation methodology. And I definitely want everybody joining today to look at it probably once you have a slide, go follow this methodology, because this is one of our USP, and I think that's quite important. So what we do, for example, I'll give you an example, right? So let's say one of the brands got a brilliant idea, or let's say a mom at home's got a brilliant recipe for one of her sauces, and she wants to develop, right? And she wants to go into market. The way FEA Food Entrepreneurship Academy approach it would be, we understand her brand values, brand vision, and then sort of do some consumer insights, market evaluation. We understand the market, do all the stuff what we discussed earlier, and then from that point of time, we will identify market trends, what's actually trending at the moment, and then develop a relevant strategies. So once we have those finer details ready, then we go into product design and development part, which is where through R&D we bring concepts to life. We create an MVP in our lab here in Melbourne. We work, we've got a chef on our team, as well as a couple of food technologists. So we develop the product as per that fine print, what we've done from consumer insights, and then this ideation process, right? So once we develop the product, during that time as well, we and that's where the product design and commercialization basically joins the hands together, because I think it's sort of overlaps together. Because what we do is, while we are developing, I think one thing everybody needs to take care of is, like, you have to use ingredients from an actual supplier. So, and that's actually very, very important, right? Sourcing and manufacturing. So if you are developing at home, at the beginning you can use a retail bought ingredients, but as you have a MVP, and then you have to scale up, we highly recommend that you work with certain suppliers in an industry where you get your products, get your ingredients from them, so that your supply chain, when you scale up, your supply chain is sorted, but then also you're gonna have a standardized product. It may not change, right? What if you're using a retail bought ingredient and they change their recipe? Your product won't taste the same, right? So understanding that sourcing part and those ingredients are quite important. So do that, and then once you have those ingredients, develop the product, have your MVP. But also the other thing, what we like to do is, if you contact manufacturer and understand their process, right? I think that way, when we develop, we make sure that we stimulate or replicate those processes while we're developing in our kitchen. So that's what we do. We source it from a real ingredient supplier, but then also in the meantime, after the ideation process, we also know what sort of processing this product may require for a sauce manufacturing. Let's say if it's hot feel or something, or certain temperature, they run for 15 minutes, and we make sure we do that process in the lab, and then at least that proves that the product will work on that manufacturing line. So doing those things are quite important. I really think that any startup or any person starting this whole journey of food entrepreneurship, right, at from home, I know they don't follow this process, but I literally want them to do it, and that's why we are actually presenting this with this whole methodology, because I think that's quite important, because that's gonna help you succeed quite a lot. Once you have this product, then it's time to get into the manufacturing, do the regulatory stuff, label info, and you're ready for market launch. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please actually take a picture of this, or you'll have this slide later, but follow this methodology, because I think that's very, very important. I'm going to go back to one slide back where we discussed about consumer centric and consumer validated product design. Again, it talks about the same thing, but it's in a different form, that you need to have first thing, do a brainstorming yourself, do a knowledge mapping, recognize area of uncertainty, and seek answers for those problems what you foresee. Do a complete evaluation of about the product. Do that brainstorming. Talk about when I'm talking about this comprehensive evaluation, it means understand who is your customer, but then also understand what's the product's gonna be. If you have make the product in line with all of your beliefs, so sustainability, healthy. So make sure those things are clear. Understand whether you want to use any natural flavors or artificial flavors. You want to make unhealthy, healthy. Write those things down. Write those nutritionals as well, because a lot of people want high protein or high fiber. So do this complete evaluation, right? I mean, map it out on a piece of paper, because that's very important. Because once you do that, and then the ideation, right? I mean, then create strategies on how am I going to create. So I think those two part on your left hand side would be quite important. Once you have those, then do a product mapping, identify areas of innovation, create a blueprint of how your product's gonna look like. With the AI now, on ChatGPT, if you put all of those details, it will even come up with a render of your product, right? So it's become now more easier. So I think do that thing, and then at least visualize your products. At least you know that this is what I'm going to create, right? And then once your product, after all of this, it's created with an MVP, do the consumer validation. I mean, we repeat this again and again, but start with consumer, end with consumer, because at the end of the day, no matter how much marketing dollars you can spend, like if you've got a lot of funds to spend, you can spend thousands of dollars on it, but if your product is not tasting right and it's not meeting the expectation of your consumer, they would not buy second time. So consumer validation is very, very important. Once you have a product from your target market, bring 20 people in, right? From the community, bring 20 people in and make them taste. If it's for like larger age group, right, from 20 to 50, I'm sure you will know 15, 20 people from your friends, family. Bring them together, make them taste it, ask them to give you a proper feedback, and not give you odd critics, but real feedback, and then fine tune those things. Because once you do that and your product tastes good, then the consumer will come back and pay again for the second order. So I think that's very important. I mean, our motto is taste is king. Whatever we do, we have to make it tasty. So keep that in mind. Let's jump on to further and let's discuss more from a point of view why innovation matter, right? And now I'm gonna end with we've still got a few slides, but I'm gonna end with some case studies and talking about real brands, right? So the one what you're seeing on the screen right now, it's a brand called Nimbus. It's based out of Sydney. Their marketing more from their market is more from an Australian market. What is Nimbus, right? It's a sustainable oat milk in a powdered form. It's vegan, made with Australian oats, planet-friendly oat milk, and healthy oil. What was the main point of difference? They wanted to have a oat milk which travels light, which means that if you compare the oat milk from Nimbus compared to what you have in a carton, right? The Nimbus costs probably $2.9 a liter. Comparatively, the other $3.5 to $6 a liter, right? This is a recycled packaging, but most of the other Tetra Paks are, not like the long shelf life ones are different materials which are not that recyclable. So you look at this one weighs 110 grams per liter, comparatively 1100, because you are also carrying water along with oat milk. So that's what the point of difference was. But now let's look at from a lens of market dynamics and market segmentation as well, and how important and cleverly they have actually thought of. So let's talk about the problem first. The problem was from their point of view that the environmental impact and inefficiency caused by transporting high volume cartons, because oat milk has only 10% oats, the remaining is water, right? And then excessive packaging use leading to increased emission, landfill waste, and food wastage. That was the problem, that every carton of oat milk you buy, it's even the logistics is bringing, and that's causing a lot of emission, and it's affecting the environment, right? So the point was that if it comes in a powdered form, all you need to do is add water to it, right? And everybody has got water at home, so it sort of helps solve those problems from an environmental and sustainability point of view. But from a market dynamics, let's look at what was the consumer behavior, increasing consumer awareness and concerns for the climate change. As I say, that beliefs and attitudes play a very important role, the consumer behavior, right, at the beginning. So that's what was happening. Rising demand, there was a more demand for plant-based and vegan option. That was another behavior change, right? And then there was a growing interest in sustainable packaging and reduced water usage, right? So again, see over here, the market forces driving changes was the consumer behavior, and that's what they've targeted. They understood the dynamics of what's driving change, and how they've segmented their product is again they are focusing the environmentally conscious consumer, health conscious consumer seeking plant-based option, busy lifestyle seeking convenient and sustainable solutions, and vegans and flexitarian. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to that pyramid and help you understand where it sits on the market segmentation. So which shows you that how can you look at it. So I'll quickly jump onto the old slides. See over here, her product, with the the Nimbus is sort of sitting between, it's overlapping between lifestyle consumer and preference driven. So you'll probably see them here. it's not too expensive, not too cheap. And then again, same thing, the market size is not too much, but it's in the middle. But this is what you need to understand, who you are going to sell it to. And I think that's very, very important. And once you understand that market, the product, because even anybody who's like more from preference driven, they'll have those belief of like sustainability. That certain section will buy your product. So I think this is why before you start even on the kitchen bench, this is quite important to understand that. The next example we'll look at is the Surasa brand called Surasa. They're based out of India. And again, it's a sweetener, right? So, and I'll explain you what was the problem. Let's jump on the problem first and then come back. So, what was the problem? As per the Statista report in 2021, like this was developed in 2022, right? So probably that's why it's going back to 2021. Over 74 million Indians were diagnosed with diabetes. It was just in 2021, right? Can you imagine? That's like 3 times the Australian population. And this was expected to rise to 124 million by 2045, right? So this was a massive problem what India was facing. So what they've come up with is a natural sweetener, which one little sachet of 1 gram is equivalent to 2 teaspoons of sugar. They see the sweetener is 0 calorie, low GI, plant-based, and tomatin. So tomatin is one of the sweetener which comes from African fruit called katamfe. It's a protein which is sweet, and it's now being largely used across the world, right? In a lot of products in the supermarket or in Australia as well, you'll see them using it. So that's what they've targeted, right? I mean, it's also, the product also has other ingredients called erythritol, glycerin, and purified water, which is in a liquid format, which is a 1 drop is equivalent to 2 teaspoon of sugar. So they've come up with powder as well as the liquid one. So see how it is, right? I mean, their market, the reason they want to come up with the sweetener was because they're understanding the problem about rising diabetics. Now look at the market dynamics and then market segmentation here. So from a dynamics point of view, you look at growing awareness and concern about diabetics and blood sugar management. So again, consumer behavior change. See how it's driving new innovation. So those are the things you need to look at. It increasing demand for healthier, more natural food option, because it's not that they didn't Indian market did not have any sweeteners. They did, but they had ASK, sucralose, and stevia was quite new at that point. So those were the option. They were all artificial, right? So that's why more natural option was missing, and they thought, why not create something which will meet that demand. Then rising consumer interest in preventative healthcare and wellness. So again, see, they want to bring change in health and everything else. So, and also I think this was right after COVID. So you're probably gonna see post-pandemic, you were saying this whole functional and healthy driven consumer. So that change forced them to develop a new product. Now talk about the segmentation. This was individuals with diabetics or pre-diabetes, health conscious consumer monitoring their sugar intake. I mean, I'm not sure how many people joined today are Indian origin, but India has amount of all the sweets with high amount of sugar. It's unreal, right? So for them to have those sugar intake and to monitor their sugar intake it becomes a priority. So they're targeting right at the problem. Then there's a fitness enthusiast or athlete seeking optimal nutrition, also for seniors and aging population with increased health concerns. Now again, let's go back to that slide of the market segmentation. Over there, for this product, it's more from a customized nutrition. It overlaps all 3 here, the top 3 from the top 3, right? From the personalized nutrition to lifestyle consumer to preference driven. Because as I said, the first one, affection driven consumers are more from a medical age. So that's where they're targeting the diabetics and pre-diabetics. Then health professionals and so those are preference driven. And then there's a lifestyle, those who wants low sugar or something. So sorry. excuse me. So you've seen how they've targeted the top of the pyramid, like all three. So again, the profit margin goes up, but the market size goes down. But again, you look at, for a country like India, that because of the population, the market size even on the top end of the pyramid will be quite high. So those sort of things you need to understand very, very importantly. And I think that's where they both have succeeded, like both in the market, right? I mean, you'll see Nimbus in Harris Farm, and then you'll see Surasa in a lot of online stores in India. So, and I think that's probably it. So this is us, but I think understanding those things are very, very important. In the closing part, all I would probably say that, look, every product you see on the supermarket shelf started somewhere, usually in someone's kitchen. But what separates an idea from a commercial success is the journey between research, validation, formulation, and execution. At Food Entrepreneurship Academy, we turn great kitchen concepts into scalable, shelf-ready products, from formulation to market launch. If you've got a good, food and beverage idea that deserves to reach more people, let's make it happen. Because innovation isn't about creating something new; it's about creating something that sells. Let's take your kitchen concept to market shelf. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone will agree with me that it was a wonderful section. In fact, it was really, really, really eye-opening. So for me personally, two things struck me. His first opening statement, and towards the end, the first one he opened with, this is the best time for you as a food business owner to really take your product out there. So no matter how much you think the market is currently saturated, there is always something that you can do. And that one of the things is for you to understand the market dynamics. So what's trending, who are your target audience, and then also applying a little of your culture. As we all know, especially in Australia right now, one of the things people are big on, it's you having authentic food products, right? People are going back to the roots. They're going back to wanting to taste something authentic, artisanal, multicultural, which is actually the field most of us are right now. So that's one of the things he said. So wherever you are, this is the best time for you to go out there with your food business. Like, you just have a lot of people waiting for you. You just have to understand the market dynamic. Then the second thing he said was also that, or rather towards the end, one of the things he used to close was that every food product you see out there in the supermarket today started in somebody's kitchen. So if you're at that phase right now where you are just testing product, or you have friends and family who are actually patronizing you, I just want to remind you and encourage you that it is a phase, it is your stage of becoming. So don't give up. Right now we're about to take the question section, but before we do that, please hold on a minute. Let's give Nadesh a little time for him to take a cup of water, or he could take a cup of tea if he prefers. Let's just give him a minute or two for him to get himself together. In the meantime, our founder, Liz Akinsoya, will come online and tell us a little bit about the body system.
Yeah, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Right. Welcome back to me, and I'm excited about today because I believe it's the beginning of a new thing in the life of many of us entrepreneurs. And like Lucy said, you might just be starting at your kitchen. Don't look at it as too small, or don't give up on it. It's something. It's a dream that could get bigger if you really chase it. And one of the things that the Multicultural Food Hub does to support your dream as an entrepreneur and being someone who's faced that kind of journey basically and has benefited from mentorship basically and from guidance from friends who have done the same thing, who have gone ahead of me, it's a value that the Multicultural Food Hub is bringing to the table for most entrepreneurs. Just like you do in your everyday life, sometimes you want to achieve something. Let me take, for example, when most of us were to move into Australia from wherever we came from, I'm sure you probably would have called a friend or you would have asked someone some questions to guide you on some of the processes, and fine, it's not like you cannot read. It's not like there's no Google. But sometimes what you get from Google is not the same as what you get from a voice of experience guiding you. And that's where the buddy system comes in. So the buddy system basically replicates that system where you get someone, that voice of experience to put you through. And you can be a buddy today and be a mentor and be a mentee tomorrow. So for example, I might have succeeded at organizing events, but I want to get my products to the food, to the shelves. I would need Nashai to be my buddy. And someone else who probably wants to organize an event would need me to be their buddy. And that's how the buddy system works. So I'll bring up a very short video that explains what the concept is like and what we as a community can make happen when we work together and when we support one another. So I'll just bring up the video. If you can just sit back, relax, and let's watch. Thank you.
Dami loves to cook. She learned from her grandmother back home. Now she cooks for neighbors and dreams of one day doing it for the world. But dreams can be heavy when you're doing it all alone. She's talented, but tired, motivated, but stuck, visible, but not seen. Labels to design, markets that barely pay off, grants she doesn't understand, questions no one seems to answer, compliments without commitment, and a bank that just says no. It's not that she's not good enough, it's just that no one's shown her the way. So one night, her eyes close, the baby sleeps, the house falls silent, and Dami dreams, not of what's wrong, but of what could be. She finds a buddy, not a teacher, but a fellow traveler, someone who gets it, who's been there, who walks beside her, step by step. They talk, they share, they show her shortcuts. They remind her she's not crazy, she's courageous. Soon she's cooking in a shared kitchen, getting feedback, trying new things, going to meetups, and seeing her own story online, shared by people who finally see her. 5 years on, Dami is not just known, she's sought after. She speaks at conferences, retailers call her, banks compete to fund her growth. She supports her family with her passion, and other migrant entrepreneurs ask her, "Can I learn from you?" 10 years later, Australia is different. Her food is now part of the nation's flavor. Her daughter helps serve customers, proud of her roots. A cultural food hub bears her name. Fusion dishes inspired by people like her are served in cafes, school canteens, and even on Australia Day menus. And then, Dami wakes up. The baby still sleeps. The kettle hums. The morning sun pours in. But something has changed. Something has shifted. Because now, she's seen what's possible. And she knows it's closer than she ever thought. If we build it together.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, that's just a snapshot of what's possible, with the buddy system. Many of us have achieved a lot of things just by asking other people who have gone ahead of us. And that's just what the buddy system replicates in the sense of a platform. So you might be on a journey to maybe take your products to the supermarket. Someone's done it before. They can guide you with that voice of experience to say, oh, this was how I did it, that was how I did it. And what would that do for you? It's basically going to shortcut your journey, and you don't have to go through the years of trial and error trying to figure things out on your own, falling and rising, basically. So it cuts short that journey of, painful growth, basically, and it just makes things a lot easier. So that's what the buddy system is all about. If you want to be a buddy, if you have experience in any aspect of food business and you've succeeded, even if it's at one thing, someone else might need that experience and you can come on board to be a buddy. And if you are that person that think, oh, I want to achieve this particular thing in business, maybe I want to learn how to label my products, I want to know where to find XYZ, you can reach out with your request, and then we will look into the community of buddies and ask for someone who can help. So it's a paid system. If you are a buddy, you get paid for your knowledge, but you can choose to offer that service for free, understanding your journey. And if you're a mentee, you pay for that service. So it's a give and take kind of economy. Basically, you have knowledge, you bring it to the table, someone pays for it, and you need knowledge. Another person, shares their knowledge and you pay them for it. And beyond that, there's a lot of things you can achieve with the Multicultural Food Hub. If you have templates that you use that is very useful, you can share on the platform, and someone else can purchase that. If you have assets to share, you can list those assets for sharing, for selling, or whatever it is. And rather than your assets staying underutilized, for example, you can have that monetized in some ways and benefit some other person. So it's a win-win. If you would like to have a buddy for anything in your business, please scan the QR code, and we will be sure to get back to you. Scan the QR code, fill out the form. Nashide is also a buddy on the platform, and he would be happy to guide you on how to take your product from kitchen to the supermarket, or turn it into a commercial product. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Liz. It's really wonderful. Like she pointed out, if you have any reason or you are really stuck in any stage, or you just want somebody to hold you, there's a difference between going online, browsing. Of course, you'll see a lot of information, but sometimes those information can really, really be confusing. Let's say you want to start up a food truck business, and then you're looking for, okay, what do I do? Where next do I go to? What are the compliance issues? If you just have somebody, a buddy that can just hold your hands, it will make the whole process easier and faster. So that's what we offer. As a community, we don't just we really want you to succeed out there. So Nashide is available to be a buddy for anyone who is going through the whole process and really wants to move out from their kitchen. And we also have a lot of other buddies who are in the system. Just let us know where you are stuck and we'll get you someone to assist you. So right away, we'll start taking your questions. I know we're all eager and excited to start. So if you have your questions, please drop them on the comment section, and Nashad will take it right away. You can drop your questions in the comment section and we'll take it from there. right, I'll open the floor. So, Nashad, I have a question. Let's say I have a food product, right, and I'm still in the testing phase, but I'm not really sure whether, apart from my friends and family, they could just be patronizing me because it's a nice thing to do. But how do I know that when I go out with that food product, I would actually have people who are ready to buy my products? How am I really sure that that product there's a market for it?
So I think if you've got a food product, I think from a very basic level, right? If you're making a lot of from a kitchen-based product, the queries what we get, right? I'll prepare this really good dish, and everybody else loves it. All my friends loves it, right? And they say, I'm happy to pay for it. I think that's something, that the product or idea has some legs around it. You don't have to do too much on market dynamics at that particular point of view, but get as much as people to taste it, because the more people will taste it, you'll subconsciously the age group of the people, right? If you're making something for kids and then they eat, then because recently we worked with a community, a lady who's Greek, right? And she was preparing some cookies, but then everybody started loving it. But she didn't want to sell it in already made in a bakery or something like that. She thought, what if I create a baking mix, everybody can make it? You know what I mean? So that's what, because she was giving it to people, and she was also giving the recipe, but they could not make it with the ingredients. There was some making mistakes. So then she felt an idea, what if I just create a baking mix? So, those sort of things you'll probably understand the more, and this comes with more feedback from people, right? So the more people she gave the food to, the cookies to, the more feedback she got. So I think there's a different ways to probably figure out. I think I see another question. Is it possible shall I just read through?
Yes, please. You can just go ahead and read through.
Okay, yeah. So I think we've got a question. Is it possible to start a product or a business on a particular market segment and scale it? Yes, absolutely. I think you will see a lot of brands starting with a certain product, right? So let's take an example of Nimbus, right? She started with oat milk, but then she pivoted to, I think now she's doing more from a soy milk perspective. But again, this is a different same segment. But when you look at, I'm just trying to think different products in the market which they do multiple formats, and there are products we've seen in the market, right? So the best way to do change the segment is look at what consumers are after. So if you're developing something for personalized nutrition, does not stop you not to create for mass market, right? So there is this product where we've seen that one of the brands we're working with, they do oat milk. So they have a product which is a complete protein and everything, right? But then they've created another segment for a mass market with just calcium in it, because the right? So it's just, I don't think you need to have any process, but I think you just develop for it, because once you have that product, you're selling it, you'll understand what are your pros and what are your cons, and you'll also get a lot of feedback from a consumer that this is more expensive, how can you make it cheaper? So those sort of things you learn as you do more. All right, so there's one more question. As a small business, how do we derive our use by dates on products? Very, 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 very good question. There are multiple ways to do it depending on, remember when I explained to you about that innovation methodology, understanding that manufacturing process is that, let's say, for example, I'm giving you an example of a sauce, for example, right? A lot of sauces you see in the supermarket, they do have shelf life of between 1 month to 6 months. So depending on the processing, what you do. So if you are running at higher temperature, short time, like there's a different method, I'm talking about heat processing. Then if you follow those, you do know that you are killing all the microbes. Then what you will do once you have a product going through that, let's say for example the sauce has gone through 90 degrees for 15 minutes, for example, then you know that you have achieved certain sterility for it to last 3 months. But what you will do is, once you have that product heated at 90 degrees for 15 minutes, you'll take that sample from time 0, test for it, then you keep it in your product library. You test for it after 15 days, you test for it at 30 days, you test for it at 45 days. The moment you start seeing the microbiological parameters going up, that's where you know this is the end. So that's how you can narrow it down. But you'll find a lot of external labs helping you to test accelerated shelf life testing. Once you go through that shelf life testing, which gives you an indication whether it's going to be 6 months. If the accelerated shelf life testing tells you that the product goes off on month 8, then I would I would be on the safer side, and I would probably put a 6-month shelf life on it. So but you just need to ask for accelerated shelf life study from any food labs, and they will be able to help you out. I think there's another question from Sophia. As a small business, how do we derive our barcode for shelf standard? Okay, so Sophia, there is a company called GS1, and which is acceptable. I mean, it's one of the largest barcode companies around the world. And generally, if you contact GS1, I think you can buy barcodes from them. But there are other barcode companies as well. But I definitely prefer working with GS1 because it's a globalized company. Whatever barcodes you buy it in Australia is going to be valid in US, or it's going to be valid in UK, or it's going to be valid in Africa, India, everywhere, right? So it's going to be. I do recommend working with GS1. I think it costs, if I'm not wrong, around $300 to $400, and you get 4 barcodes. But depending on your product, number of products, you can go through that. There's another question. Is there a body organization that tests products going to the shelf? There are product in terms of shelf life. You test all the microbiological parameters from food labs. If you are based in Melbourne, BVAQ, they can test for it. There's ALS. And then I think BVAQ and ALS is also in Sydney and Brisbane, so you can use them. There's another question from Gostim. How do you get repeated customer considering you are just startup? The only way to get your repeat customer is that your product is good, right? If your product is good, definitely, they're gonna buy again. There's no other way, honestly. Your product speaks volume. The product flavor speaks volume. You can do marketing, but if somebody likes your product, they're going to buy it again and again. There's no. I wouldn't get into there's other way. It's all about product. Yeah. I think you're on mute.
Yes, I was. Thank you very much. I have a question, but let's keep our questions coming in. We still have 5-10 minutes. So let's say, so most of our food business entrepreneurs here right now, they are in a niche business, which is the multicultural food business. So right now, how would you say they can really reach out to their customers out there? How do they do that? Because unlike the food that you have, food business, let's say you're selling burger, there's a lot of people who are really out there and just want to get these products. But therefore, food businesses who are in a niche business like this, how do you do that? How do you reach out to your customers? What is the way would you advise a small food business owner to get customers constantly?
So I'll give you a quick example here. Very, very good question, right? We're working with one of the girl, from Brisbane. She runs a matcha business, and she had this brilliant idea. What she did was she started going to the farmers market every day. I think there's a market up in Brisbane somewhere where she goes every day. She tests out whatever her product is with the consumers, and then she's also building a whole community on TikTok. There's plenty of people out there who will connect with your story. Tell people your own story. If it's more authentic story, people will love it. Apart from product as well, the authenticity of where you belong, where you're coming from, and what you're trying to do, and why you are developing that product, that connects with people. And I think that's very, very important. The way I see our client, I'll shout out to her. Her brand name is Mucha Matcha. She goes out very disciplined. She goes out to markets day in, day out, just focusing, and builds a lot of takes a lot of videos and posts it on social media, and that's how she's connecting to them. And then now she's built up the community. Now we are developing a product for her which is completely going to be different than what she's currently doing now, right? So I think this is how you reach out to the people. I think that's very, very important. I think there was another question from Sophia. Aside from getting an ABN, are there other business registration needed for products like sauces? It depends on where you are producing. If you are producing at home and trying to sell it, then yes, you will require a council permit. If you are using a commercial kitchen, so it depends where you are. There's so many commercial kitchens available these days. If you're using a commercial kitchen, generally they have their license, but you still need certain licenses from a council, and those commercial kitchen can advise you what else you require there, but then you can produce there and sell it. And if you're going with a manufacturer, then I don't think you require any other license apart from ABN. All you need, you provide the recipe to the manufacturer, they produce it, and then all you need is the food, microbiological testing report to see that your product is safe. So that's what you require. A question from Lucy: how do I maintain scaling challenges and consistency as my order grow? And Lucy, I think that's very, very good question regarding the scaling up. A lot of times we see the quality deteriorates and everything. I think what you need to do is go back to the basics. As I said while I was explaining, ensure you have a secure supply chain of your ingredients. Because if you have a secure supply chain of ingredients and you are using those ingredients day in, day out, from an ingredients perspective, your product is now more standardized. What I would suggest that if you're making your product yourselves, then it's time to move and take a bit of leap and work with contract manufacturers. Because if you can pack 100 orders, or manufacture 100 orders in a day and pack it, manufacturers could do 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 depending on the size of manufacturer you work with. So I think keeping that consistency is very, very important, because your consumers will pick up if there is any flavor or anything difference in it. So just go back to the basic, understand what are the ingredients which are going to help you standardize your product, focus that, secure that supply chain. And if it's scaling up challenges because of the manufacturing, then take a leap and work with a contract manufacturer.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any other question? Okay. Thank you so much, Nadesh. We learned a lot, and really this section was really an eye-opener for businesses, especially those in the small stage who are still testing their food product from their kitchen and selling to friends and family. You would agree with me that it was really a wonderful one, and you did justice to the topic, Nadesh. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Please, I want to remind us again, Nashide is one of our buddies. He's open to being a buddy. So wherever you are in your okay, I think we have one question. We have one more question from Sophia. I will just read it out to you. Okay, it's on the screen already. Does your response on sauces also apply to baking mix? That's her question.
Yes, it does, right? I mean, if you have a baking mix, and I think all the products are similar. I mean, if you're making, again, like if it's related, your question is related to the scale up, then yes, I think baking mixes, then you work with a proper supplier, and also if it's challenges based on manufacturing, then there are plenty of blending companies which can help you out. I mean, we work with a lot of smaller blending facility who can actually even help you with 50 kilos if you want to do. Yeah, definitely.